Welcome, welcome. I'm going to start with today a question that one of our brothers sent to me, and he asked this question. I'm going to call him Jake. Jake is not his real name, but I'm going to call him Jake. So Jake mentioned to me that he has proof that his wife is in an emotional relationship with a colleague at work. So Jake knows for sure that his wife is in an emotional relationship with a colleague at work. And in the next couple of weeks, and as the job requires, they do travel. And because of that, he is weary that this relationship can become not just emotional, and it can become a physical affair. And he is wondering what to do next. They are already struggling. The marriage already has challenges, and he is trying to make things right, work it out, make the marriage work. But it looks like the wife has already connected with someone else. I don't know for sure if this someone else is available for a relationship or they are also married. But I'm going to use this as an example. We're going to talk about it. How do you apply unconditional love to that? How do you apply all that I've been teaching, or that I teach, to repairing that marriage? How can we fix that? What should this brother do? That's what I'm going to talk about today. Jake has proof that his wife is in an emotional relationship with a colleague. Jake is a believer. His wife is a believer. They love the Lord, but they are struggling now in their faith, obviously, and struggling also in their marriage. So the marriage is struggling. They have an arrangement on how to fix it. They're trying to, but that's not all of the problems. So there's this emotional relationship that is there that is not yet obvious. So I said Jake has proof, not like they've discussed it. So right now he is working on himself to fix the marriage, to see how he can make changes on the areas where he has been wrong. But they've not really had a clear discussion on the emotional. I think they've discussed. Yes, it's obvious that there's emotional problems there, but not that it could go physical. So he has the idea that it could go physical because of the nature of the job. And the question here is, what do I do? Number one, as a man who is trying to repair the marriage, and what else can he do to fix the marriage? So I want to start by saying, if you want to fix your marriage, there are three things you must do. First, take care of your own heart. Your heart, how you relate with yourself, what you understand about peace and joy for your life. Take responsibility of that. It is always where you must start from. What makes me happy? What am I living for? What is holding me from living my best life, my joy-filled life? Deal with all of that. What baggages have I carried along all my life? What are the things that I am doing that is just destroying my peace and my joy? You take care of all of that. And in taking care of that, it involves forgiving those who have hurt you, judgments that you have made. It involves getting away from the bad habits that you have. All of that, taking care of yourself, focusing on being whom God created you to be. And so Jake here is already doing some of this work, so which is a good thing. I applaud you, Jake, for all that you've been doing. So keep going. Don't stop. Don't slow down on that. Keep searching your heart and checking what's going on. So Jake wrote to me and said, as the longer this emotional affair goes on, the less he loves his wife and the more he hates her. That's what he says. And what that means is that he's getting irritated by the behavior. So when your wife cheats on you, there are two things that will happen to you. Number one, you feel, what is it that what is making me inadequate to meet my wife's desires? It doesn't matter how good you are together. It doesn't matter how much she tells you it's not your fault, it's just me. You will still feel that. You feel that desire to say, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe there's something she wants that I don't have that I need to provide. That's the first feeling. That's one of the feelings. Another feeling you would have is a feeling of anger. Why would she betray our trust like this? Why would she do this to our marriage? Now, when you're trying to answer these questions, you will answer them by, when you say, what does she want that I don't have? And that will make you look at, what am I providing? Maybe you've been disconnected. Maybe you've been absent physically from home or emotionally. Maybe your spiritual life has degraded. Maybe financially you're not providing anymore. She's the one providing the most. Maybe you're not inspiring her. You don't have a vision for where God is leading the home, and you're not casting that vision. You're not sharing that vision. You're not leading spiritually. It doesn't matter what it is. As you ask those questions, or the first question, what is it that I don't have that my wife is looking for? What does the other man have that I don't have and I can provide? It's negative because it's not really about you. You're not the one cheating, but you can take hold of something that's negative and turn it to the positive. But I want to assure you that you could do all those things that you think she wants, and she will still cheat, because it is not about you. This action is not your action. It is the action of your wife. However, you can use it. So once you think about that and you notice the things that you know that you ought to be, that you're not, it's a good time to fall back into the right place and begin to work hard on those things. Especially, and I will ask you, start from the things that are deep within your heart, that you know this is who I want to be. Not what she wants you to be, but who you want to be, who you feel that God has called you to be. So the first part is always your heart. Now, as you're working on that, in case of Jake now, I believe he's working on that, but I know it's not fully done working on that, because he's telling me that the more she continues in this emotional affair, the less he loves her and the more he hates her. Now, it's not really saying that he hates her, because if he hated her, he wouldn't be asking me these questions and he wouldn't be working hard to fix his marriage. But he's saying that I'm getting very disgusted. I'm feeling irritated and angry that she can't just break this and come back to the marriage, because I'm working hard. Now, I want to say something to you, Jake. I know you're working really hard and I appreciate the work that you're doing, but I want to let you know that before now, your wife has been working hard. Most likely, she has been trying to get your attention for years and she couldn't. And I'm not saying that you're the reason for her looking outside. You could be doing everything you want to do, you need to do, and she could have this attack and not know how to handle it. Feel emotionally vulnerable, and she just likes the guy and she doesn't know how to handle it, and she won't share with you or have good friends that she can share with that will help her overcome the problem. She could still have the problem even when you're doing right. So I don't want you to take the blame for her on you, but I want you to also understand that, maybe think about it, that could it be that all these years she's been working hard to fix this marriage and she's been trying her best. Right now, she's at a point where she's low and she's not able to stand up strong, because she's a believer, I believe, but she knows that this is wrong. She's not supposed to be in a relationship with another person when she's married, but she's struggling right now. And And so you may want her to just come back because you can read your own heart. You know that you're ready to do your best. And there's proof because you've seen how much you've grown. But I want to tell you, when she married you, you were great. If you were not great, if she knew that you were going to have all the problems that you may have had that made her struggle all these years, she wouldn't have married you. She married you because she thought that you were going to be fantastic. You were doing very well. So you're doing well right now. It's not enough proof for her that you're not going to shut down or break down or stop growing and become that terrible person that she's struggling with. She was trying to fix for the last couple of years. So do not think that because you've started doing well, maybe in the last 1 year or 5 months, 6 months, that she's going all suddenly going to be happy and find it so easy to break off from the attack of the enemy against her emotions. So know that. But you are the man of the home and you love her unconditionally. So this is where we come to the topic of unconditional love. There is no condition attached to love. There are conditions attached to marriage. Marriage is not unconditional. You can only marry a person that wants to be married to you. So there's a condition. The condition of marriage is that the person desires to be married to you. The condition of marriage is that the person stays faithful to you. When a person decides to not be faithful, that breaks the contract, the covenant of marriage. It breaks it. Once a person says, I don't want to be married, I refuse to stay with you, I'm done with you. Of course, saying it is not what breaks it, is really doing it and pulling away and going forward. Now, you cannot stay married to a person that doesn't want to stay married to you. Now, if she is struggling, it is your responsibility as the man to fight for her. And so, right now, although you feel pain and hurt, it is time, or maybe you've been doing that, to fight for her. It is time to say, I'm gonna have to do whatever it takes to help you overcome this if you want to. And it is a time to continue to double down on working on you and on your connection with what makes you joyful and happy. So you're working on that. The next step is to work on your connection with God, because that's where you can get the superpower to break things that don't work well in your marriage. I want to encourage you to come to her from the point of view that I know things have been bad in the past, and I'm ready to fight for you. I would not want you to allow this emotional affair to degenerate to a physical affair, because it will break a lot of things. It becomes harder for me to connect with you because it sends a signal that you are done with the marriage and that we cannot work together. However, as long as I am alive, I will continue to love you, and I will do my best to provide that leadership and that care that you so much desire. You need to fight for her. You need to say words that say, I will do what it takes to stand with you, stand by you, and I'm not going to try to control you. Now, I know that that's hard for you because you want to really stop her from breaking the marriage further. And it is important to say that look, do not allow this to grow more. Try your best to disconnect from this colleague. Find ways to reduce contact, and if possible, even let's change jobs. Now that's not so easy, but you can suggest that if she can see that what she's doing is against the will of God. So you're not going to try to force her as if you're saying, I command you to not do this, but rather you're saying, I can't just watch you throw your life away based on some mistakes that I've made. This is the way you say it, but you're still saying the same thing. Please do not destroy this marriage. And I know you're not intending to, unless you've already made up your mind that I cannot change. But I want to let you know that the love of God in my heart for you is not conditional. Whether you choose me or you don't, I would always love you. However, going into a physical affair when you're married is an assault on your marriage. It's an assault on your spiritual heart, your spiritual state, your emotions, and it's going to rub off on our lives so badly that it makes it harder to rebuild. You can give an illustration that it's like taking a sledgehammer and breaking down a house just because you are mad at me that I abandoned some things in the house. Let's not continue to break down the house just like I've done by abandoning stuff. Let's build together. So you appeal to her, but at the same time make it clear that doing that is a very terrible thing. This is how you show that you love her and that your love is unconditional. It's not about you, it's about her. It's not about what people will say, it's about what she's doing to herself and how hard it will be to recover from it. You're not stopping her from moving forward if she wants to, but she should do it the way that she, as a respectable woman of God, would do it. She could go ahead and divorce you and then go find another person, but she shouldn't be mixing things like this. You speak to her heart, and trust God. Of course, before you do that, you want to spend time in the place of prayer, repenting from the things that you've done. So that's why step number 2, once you're taking care of your heart and you're working hard on you, then you have to work on your connection with God. What are things that God has called you to do that you're not doing? In what ways are you failing God? In what ways are you being rebellious to God? What idols you have in your life? Just like your wife is now in an affair, what affairs do you have spiritually? What are the things that are taking away your attention from who God calls you to be and what God calls you to do? So you settle all of that. And you begin to present your heart. The way you wrote to me and said, the more she does this, the more I hear her. Yes, you present to God, I'm angry at my wife. And the reason why I'm angry at her is because I feel she's betraying me and she's bringing evil into our home. Whatever your feelings are, present them to the Lord and then be honest to God and say, but that is selfish because I'm not looking at the pain that she's going through, overlooking and minimizing the hurt that she may be carrying even from before the marriage. So she's been hurt before you got married to her, and somehow your behavior has rubbed on the hurt and made it to grow bigger. So you're going to talk to the Lord about that. In the process of doing all of that, you get healed and you're getting strengthened in your life. These are some of the things you do. Now that's the second step. Once you handle God very well and yourself, you become like a big tank of love because you're no longer easily triggered. Every behavior of your wife, you're able to see it from the place of love. You can see that she's hurting. You can see that she's confused. You can see that she's testing you. She's afraid. All of that, you see them. And as you see all of those things, you then begin to treat her with that care that you would treat a stranger who's struggling. You don't try to treat her like a wife at this time because she's struggling. She's disconnected from you. You need to rebuild trust. And to rebuild trust, you need to give her time. This is when you stop asking her who she's going to talk to, who she's talking to on the phone, because you're giving her space, you're giving her time, and you're trusting God because you walk. Remember, you walked on the second stage of your second step, which is reconnecting properly with God and surrendering properly to God. You then hand over your wife to God and then treat her like you would treat a good neighbor. Nothing deeper, but lots of kindness and lots of presence. Then you build from there to deeper friendship. It's slow but powerful process of sowing love seeds, unconditional love seeds, based on her reactions. You just don't sow love seeds blindly. You base it on her reaction to know what pace and how to go. You learn her love language and you use it. No, so nobody's long language is threat. You can't threaten her and say, if you go out and I catch that you are now, the thing is no more emotional or physical, it's all over. That's a threat. It's not a love language. A love language is to say whatever you know her love language, you use it to draw her in, and then you explain to her that doing this will be a great blow to all the lovely things that she has been dreaming about. It's time to remember the vision that you had before you got married. It's time to bring it up and say, I have been destroying this marriage. I am so sorry. And I don't want you to make the mistake. It's such a big burden on your heart when you know you've dropped the ball. Don't carry this on you. So you're loving her. You're speaking from the place of love, not from the place of hurt or protecting yourself. This is how you handle a cheating or emotionally straying wife. You could sometimes your wife may not have an emotional affair. She may just have a crush on a colleague at work. This is also problematic because you feel the same thing that you feel if there's an affair. What is it that this man has that I don't have? And why would this woman betray all this trust after I've done all this? Look, you cannot control how the enemy attacks a person, but you can stand with them to overcome the attack of the enemy. This is what I will say to you as a man. And of course, it operates the same way with a woman. You can walk this, you can flip the script and apply the same pressure. There's still need to speak the truth, but you have to speak it in love. You have to stand firm in love. When you're saying this is a destruction of the marriage, this is a deal breaker, I don't know how easy it will be for me to forgive this, even though you've forgiven me so many things, but this is so hard for me. This is going to be so hard, and it's going to pull us back a whole load. Now, you're not pushing her away. You're not saying I'm going to stop loving you, because love is unconditional. Marriage is not, but love is. And so you must always communicate that I will always love you. But when you go and have a physical affair with someone, I will assume that you're saying, I don't want to be in this marriage anymore. And that's going to be a hard thing to do. And I wish we won't have to carry this baggage with us, because I know what God is doing in my heart, and I know we can have a great future. That's all you can offer if you really want her back. Well, of course, if you want to chase her off and don't just destroy your marriage completely, then you can just say to her, well, you go do whatever you want. And if you do it, know that the marriage is over. But she already concluded that you are a jerk and you're not worth staying with. She wanted to go away anyway. Now, she may say, oh, but she doesn't say that. She doesn't say I'm a dangerous person. Yes, let's assume she doesn't, but she's thinking it. And she's been working hard to see you change, and she's convinced that you may not change. Sometimes a wife can be in a marriage for 10 years, and she's thinking that God is punishing her with you. You are a whip to her life. But you don't want that. You want her to be thankful that she has been given a man who loves her and reflects the glory of God to her. You don't want to be a prison to your wife, or a whip, or a cross for her to carry. You want to be a source of peace and joy and love for her. Of course, you're going to be that same person that's going to challenge her to be more like Christ. You're going to challenge her to serve where God's calling her to serve, and not to find the easy way out. Yes, and at those times she may react, but whenever she's on her own, she will know that without this man's support and help and challenge, I couldn't be what I am. And I couldn't be what God calls me to be, because that's the truth. You can't be who God calls you to be. She can't be who God calls her to be unless you go to work together. So those are the 3 steps: your heart, your connection with God, then your connection with your wife emotionally, physically and spiritually. You want to work on that. All right. So for my brother Jake, that's what I'm going to say to you. Pray about it. Talk to God. Come from a place of love, and know that it's a long journey. It's not going to be a day. It's not going to be 2 days. It's going to be weeks, months. It could be years to really bring you back to where you ought to be, where you want to be. The key to unconditional love is walking in the Spirit and understanding that regardless of what the other person does, you're not going to change. You're not going to change. You're going to be you. Now, they may see the firm up side of you, but it's still going to be kind. They may see the side of you that demands them to rise up, but it's still going to be from a place of, I care about you and I want the best for you always. Always. It is unconditional for a reason. There are no conditions for the love. All right. So that's it for today. But if you are in this situation, you're like my brother Jake. You've been in an affair, your wife is in an affair, or you are in an affair, or there's so much trouble in your marriage, but you're successful in other areas of your life, and you need a coach to help you hit that goal that you've been wanting to hit, then I am your person. Sorry, if you're meeting me for the first time and you watch this to this point, then obviously you are a person that needs support, needs help. Then first thing I want you to do is subscribe to my channel and register for my masterclass. adesobanja.com/masterclass. That's the first thing you must do. Now, once that is done, then you are going to learn the 5 steps. I shared the 3 steps today, but in more details. The 2 pre-steps and the 3 steps that you must do if you want to have a marriage that thrives, that continues to grow. You both grow towards each other as believers. I want to share that during the masterclass. Once you register, you'll be on my email list. If you're on my email list, you can request to have a meeting with me so that we can draw up a plan for you to help you transform your marriage from where it is now so that you can hit your goal. So may the Lord bless you, and until we meet again, continue to love like Jesus and make mega impact.